So guys, I'm doing a pros and cons list on this reverse level I installed a few weeks ago. I've done a couple things with the trucks. I got a good idea about it. And I'm going to go through pros, cons, and a myth that I heard on a forum. But let's start with pros because everybody wants to hear the positive first. Looks. It looks way better without that rear end way up in the air. Performance. It handles so much better because I have more weight on the rear axle now because the truck's just naturally, since it's lower back there, it transfers some of the weight. It handles so much better on curves and it brakes a lot better. I had a woman and a kid just decide to run out in front of my truck. I was going about 45 and I had to come to an abrupt stop pretty quickly, and it stopped perfectly. There was no skid between the truck, the ABS system, and I think a lot with the reverse level because it's not so much weight on the front, it's more evenly distributed. It worked so much better. The next one is towing. So with towing, you don't have to run a crazy drop hitch now. So I'll show a picture of what hitch I have on the truck right now. It's a 2-inch with a adapter sleeve to the 2.5. And I do want to get the 2.5-inch hitch just like it, but that's in the future. It's not a big thing I need right now. But we'll show a picture of it, and I will show a picture of a trailer hooked to it. So it's a 6x12 tandem axle. It's quite a bit heavy built trailer. It's not one of these cheap Tractor Supply trailers. It's a very well heavy built landscape trailer. It's very heavy, and the toolbox on it is full. And with it, the lawnmower I had on it, and just natural gravity on it, it didn't even bother the truck. If you look at the picture, it's still pretty much level, but you don't have to have a crazy drop hitch on these trucks no more if you reverse level it, because those things can get very pricey. They're like $400 from Gen Y. A 2.5-inch receiver one with 3 little squares, like a 2-drop and a main square, it's like $400 and almost $500, and I don't know who's buying this hitch. I don't even know. And it was the lowest grade I could get. I got like the one at 21K because who needs 30? This truck can't carry 32. So anyway, you don't have to buy a drop hitch for these trucks. You can just get a standard tri-ball, something cheap that fits it, and go with it. No more bigger tires. So with reverse leveling it, you don't need bigger tires. And what I mean by that is if you lift up the front, it makes it look weird. You need to fill in that wheel well, just naturally. And so you would have to run like a 37 to make it really look good. And don't get me wrong, leveled 37s look amazing, but it's a lot of money. A leveling kit, a good quality, and not a block that's like $60, like a legit leveling kit from Carly, like the commuter one. After you buy everything you need for it, I was at like 5K. Through Wicked suspension, their base, I would have to buy the kit, then had it powder coated, so I was at like 1100, then buy the shocks and just everything. You're looking at a couple thousand. It's ridiculous. And then so let's say you go with the Carly kit, you spend a 5K, you want it the nicest setup, whatever. And you gotta spend, if you want new wheels, you gotta get new wheels. But say you want factory wheels, and you have to get 37s, and they're like 2,500. So you could have, for a leveling kit on these trucks, a lot of money. And granted, with the Carly kit, you can drive 60 mile an hour off-road and don't feel it. But who's taking an $80,000 truck off-road that fast? Exactly. So the bigger tires, you can run 35s, like these stock tires are 34s by 11s. I will slap some true 35s on there. I want to put mud graps on it, so they're like 35 by 13.5. So they'll just fill in that wheel well a little bit more, especially with the width. I'm more of a wider tire guy than a taller tire guy. The next one is it's easier to get in the truck. So I carry a lot of old people around, between my parents and my uncle and family members I know around. It's hard for them to get in the truck because they're older. These trucks already sit up all the way in the sky now, So it just makes their life a lot easier, and it also makes my life a lot easier. So hooking up to the gooseneck that I got, way easier with it reverse leveled. I wish I took a photo of it. I didn't think about it, but I will in the future. But just plus accessing the bed of the truck. If you have something back there, or you have to climb in there with the ladder, or get some out of the toolbox, it's way easier. Those couple inches really make a difference, and it just makes your life so much easier. So if you're actually using your truck for work and you getting stuff out of the bed and using it as a truck should be used for, not just for driving around for fun, it's really nice. The next one is it fits in a garage. So I don't own a garage. I don't have the money for it. But when I thought about garage, I was thinking parking garage. So parking garages usually are pretty tight. And I had to go to a meeting for work about working together. It was a big thing, all day thing. But I couldn't fit in a garage with this truck. It was like an inch too tall. And so I had to have my roommate bring me there, and I took an Uber home. But it's just not, it just makes it a lot easier if it can fit in places. So that's what the reverse level does. So imagine if you did the front leveling and you put those bigger tires on it, you're a little bit more limited. If it's not a big deal to you, you know, it is what it is. Next is you don't need a front alignment. Reverse leveling, you're just dealing with the back, so you don't have to bring the truck in and get it leveled again or get alignment done. And that alignment on these trucks, or last time I got a price on alignment when it was pre-COVID, was like $90. I don't know what they are now, but I'm sure they're not any more cheaper. But you don't have to get alignment done. Usually anytime you modify the front or do anything, you have to get alignment done. It's just what you have to do. And this is, you don't have to deal with it. You spend $300, put the blocks on it, torque it down good, drive it around for a couple hundred miles, torque it again, you're good, you're done. You don't have to deal with anything else. But let's get to the dreaded cons. Cons, towing. So the photo you saw earlier, and I'll post the photo again, of me pulling my utility trailer. This is a few hundred pounds added to the truck, and the truck's still pretty much low. But with the gooseneck, it drops the truck 2 inches. So now I have a squat. So how much nicer it is to deal with it, using the truck with it reversed, it is a pain with towing. And so you're gonna have to invest in sumo springs or airbags or something to counteract that. It's just something you have to do. Yeah, that's where that reverse level, you don't have to deal with it, but it's still a cheaper alternative. This kit, $300 plus maybe say $400 in sumo springs, or say $600 in airbags, you know. And if you have the compressor at home or you have a built-in one, the airbag gets a little expensive, but I think for $1,200 plus the reverse level, probably about 15, 16 all said and done, it's still cheaper than the front getting done. And another con is you have to get your headlights adjusted. So but you would have to do that on either reverse leveling it or lifting the front, because you're changing your headlights. So you're going from reverse leveling, you're picking it up, and then reverse leveling, you're blending in. So either way, you have to get your headlights readjusted. So it's a con for both sides. Some people don't do it, and that's why you see those trucks just blinding the crap out of you when you're going down the road, because they never had their headlights adjusted. I plan on getting mine done. I'm gonna see if Firestone can do it for maybe $200. I can't see it being that much. I do it myself, but I don't have the fancy machine that they line the headlights up with and stuff. Or the dealership probably could do it, but I just have to look into prices. But that is a con. One myth I want to debunk is people said you get better fuel economy. I don't know how they did that. I had not seen an improvement. I drive highway, I drive city, I drive country, and I would watch the fuel mileage. I never really saw any difference before and after. It always stayed the same. So maybe you're lucky to get it, get a improvement in fuel economy. I didn't, so it didn't really change or be a pro or a con for me. That's why I say it's a myth. If it happens for you, great, but for me it did not. But that's the pros and cons of reverse leveling I've seen so far. A ton more pros. It's almost worth it to do this now. And then it's not like these trucks are like the GMCs where they're independent suspension, you just do a spacer. There's a lot of going on there with sawed axles. You have the track bar, you have the radius arms. If this was a GM, I'd probably be doing leveling it out in the front, because you just put a block in there and alignment, you're done. But these, it's just so much more work, and these aluminum duties are already known to get death wobbles, and I don't want to force it any more than I have to. Plus, if it does get a death wobble, I can bring in a dealership and be like, it has it, you know. I didn't do nothing to the front, so there shouldn't be no warranty avoiding or anything. But let's just see how that goes. Hopefully I never have to deal with it. But I think you save a lot of money long-term reverse leveling. You don't have wear and tear on big tires on it. You don't have to deal with the alignments issues, the front suspension prematurely wearing out if you go cheap or expensive. I just don't see anything really. I just don't see a reason not to just do a reverse level unless you really want these trucks up in the air, especially with the pros, because I have a whole pile of pros. Yeah, you can't read my writing, but that's a myth. All pros, like 3 cons. So I will write them all up on a list, and you can screenshot them or just pause the video and read them all to yourself, because I did kind of go kind of quickly. But yep, that's the pros and cons of reverse leveling. I hope this helps somebody or gives somebody a general idea, because there's just a few forums about it and there's not a lot of information. There's a lot more on the other end, but not a lot on the reverse level. So I appreciate you guys watching. Hope y'all liked the video. I probably won't be posting another one for a week or two, because I will be out of town both weekends, but I'm going to try to get something out for y'all. So just bear with me. But appreciate it, guys, and thank you for watching. There was one more con out of those many pros, but there's one more con. You only have 3.5 inches of travel. So before, I had a lot more, and I didn't think about it when I did the reverse level and take a measurement of that. But it is something you have to think about, is you don't have as much shock travel as much, because you're lowered this closer to the axle. It's not really a big deal. I did find a shock that will fit it and be the right size measurement. I measured 20, I wrote it down. I have a picture of it and I'll post it here. But the shock extension was at like 28, and then all compressed was 17. So it gives you 11 and it was like 28 and change. So 11 and change of suspension travel. But I took this truck off road on the farm. I haven't noticed it bottoming it out or anything, or it doing anything funny. And even with the bump stops a little bit closer, they don't even touch now. So they didn't touch before and they don't touch now. So really, those are completely useless on this truck. But I will get the Fox shocks ordered and we will see how they do. I will do a video on it, but that was the final con. That was the only really negative con that you will have to work around. But still, $400 in rear shocks and $300 reverse level, so $700. You're still ahead. You're still ahead in beating the guys that did in the front, especially if you want to keep your truck for a long time. If you're just doing it to level it out and you're leasing it, you're keeping it for a couple of years and then getting rid of it, well, do it the cheap way, because you're not having to pay for the consequences in the long run. But for people who are deciding to keep it, I still think that block is the winning strategy.